Master and pray for peace and joy. Sat. Om Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatar Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. In the last class of the Gospel, we dealt with the theme, strive sincerely. You have to change over from worldly oriented activities to spiritually oriented activities. Dispassion and self-control are essential for success in spiritual life. First of all, you must be very sure of taking up the spiritual life. Then everything sets accordingly. Without cultivating dispassion and control over your senses, if you just retire to solitude, what will happen? You will run the risk of going crazy. So, you have to find out yourself about the weaknesses. You have to find out yourself how far you are strong in your spiritual aspiration. What needs to be done is just give a higher direction to your aspirations and activities. Higher direction. That is what is required. Be conscious of doing things. So, if you are careful about the things in your life, no situation is hopeless. After all, what is this world? It is but a manifestation of Brahman. It was created by Brahman. After creating the universe, he filled the whole universe with his consciousness. The whole universe is with the consciousness of the Supreme Self, which we call Brahman. So, far from feeling stranded and sorrowing over your present predicament in the world, You will discover a new strength-giving meaning in life when you look upon everything, including yourself, as part and parcel of Brahman, and you will participate happily in the divine drama. So, you continue to do your duties, but they are deified. Your actions being without selfish motive, you become an object lesson of love and charity, sacrifice and service, peace and perfection. It is obvious that when a person confines his interests to his little lower self, his world dwindles from the wide expanse and he falls an easy prey to hatred, suspicion and fear. So the remedy for this malady is to recognize the evil arising from the base attachment to self. To see oneself in others and love them. To turn the direction of the mean attachment to that which is the self of the universe and thus expand oneself to infinitude, that is Brahman. By realizing the self, that is Atman, the person verily liberates oneself from all ills, from all fears and from all tensions. Human life is a rare opportunity for it. Time is flying, delay is debasing. Strive sincerely, intensely for accomplishing the spiritual ideals. So on this subject we have dealt in great detail in the last class. Today I am taking the theme Hidden Treasure. Sri Ramakrishna has pointed out very clearly how nice it is to realize that the treasure is very near us. Then it will prompt us to get into that. Referring to Vidyasagar, Sri Ramakrishna said, he appreciated Vidyasagar of his good qualities. So he himself went to see Vidyasagar. Sri Ramakrishna's idea was to help him, to give a good new direction to his mode of thinking, because Sri Ramakrishna found that person was ready to receive the spiritual knowledge. And so he went to him and talked with him on various matters. Vidyasagar was thrilled to meet Sri Ramakrishna and learn many things from him. So referring to Vidyasagar, Sri Ramakrishna said, well, he is now engaged in doing good works. Very good. But he doesn't know what is within himself. Sri Ramakrishna could know it, that Vidyasagar knows nothing about the inner self. God is hidden within him. God dwells within us. If one knows that one feels like giving up all activities Once he comes to know that God is very much in his heart, he feels like giving up all activities and praying to God with a yearning soul. A little spiritual discipline is necessary in order to know what lies within. In another place, Sri Ramakrishna refers to the same subject. God dwells in all beings, and he is referring God to gold. He is the gold in all. In some places it is more clearly manifest than in others. God dwells in the worldly minded, no doubt, but he is hidden there, like gold under deep layers of clay. Yet in another place, Sri Ramakrishna refers to the same subject. Through the practice of spiritual discipline, one attains perfection by the grace of God. But one must also labor a little. Then one sees God and enjoys bliss. If a man hears that a jar filled with gold is buried at a certain place, do you think he will keep quiet? He will rush there and begin to dig. He sweats as he goes on digging. After much digging, he feels the spade strike something. Then he throws away the spade and looks for the jar. At the sight of the jar, he dances for joy. Then he takes up the jar and pours out the gold coins. He takes them into his hand, counts them, and feels the ecstasy of joy. Vision, touch, enjoyment. All these things he experiences. So Sri Ramakrishna is pointing out that hidden treasure is within us, within every one of us. The same matter is referred to by the Upanishads also. The famous Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad. It teaches that Brahman, or the Supreme Reality, once attained, there remains nothing unattained. That means once you rise to that highest level of realization, then you become totally satisfied. That means you will be established in everlasting peace and joy. Then that truth is to be sought in the cavern of one's own heart. The Upanishad says further that the indwelling reality is like a hidden golden treasure in a field. People walk over it many times, yet they remain unaware of the buried treasure. As people who don't know this spot where a treasure of gold has been hidden somewhere in the earth, walk over it again and again without finding it. So all these creatures go day after day into the world of Brahman and yet do not find it because they are carried away by untruth. This is the statement of the Chandogya Upanishad. So, the world of Brahman is the heart's cave where in deep sleep the individual soul enters and comes in contact with Brahman. When you are in deep sleep, you are virtually in contact with the Supreme God. This is the experience Upanishadic sages have expressed. This contact is experienced in a very vague way because of thick layers of ignorance veiling the soul. Still, the experience of bliss in deep sleep, though in utter unawareness, is an indication of this contact with Brahman. You're so happy after waking up. Oh, I had a very nice sleep, I enjoyed it. It is so refreshing. All these after effects you feel, it is simply because you are in touch with the divine. In fact, the individual soul is ever rooted in and in contact with this reality, which pervades the dreaming and waking states as well. But in the latter states of consciousness, the feeling of contact is further blurred by the intervention of the endless projections of Maya, beginning with the sense of ego and thence to the ever-rising train of thought waves. The soul is, as it were, continuously drawn out and remains in perpetual identification with the ego and its various involvements in the external world. Thus, as long as one remains in ignorance, he experiences the three states of consciousness, waking, dream, deep sleep, without becoming consciously aware of Brahman, the infinite reality, which is the undeniable ground of all phenomena, both internal and external. Shankaracharya comments on this statement of the Upanishad, and he says, what a pity it is that though already possessing Brahman, still one is not able to attain it. A seeker of the eternal treasure of Brahman, what should he do? He should approach a guru and search for the inner treasure according to the instruction and guidance of the guru. But the guru must be well experienced and must have the realization of the truth. Shankar, in his Viveka he refers to the treasure, hidden treasure, which we are talking now. He says there, as a treasure hidden underground requires for its extraction competent instruction, the removal of stones, etc., lying above it, and finally grasping, but never comes out by being merely called out by name. So the transparent truth of the self, which is hidden by Maya and its effects, is to be attained through the instructions of a knower of Brahman, followed by reflection, meditation, and so forth, but not through perverted arguments. Of course, here in the modern times, it is difficult to find the knowers of Brahman, but then how to proceed? Herein comes the importance of the significance of incarnations. They do come, they live the life, they practice it, they show it, and they teach what they have experienced themselves. So it's very easy for us. So we can definitely follow the instructions given by the incarnations and follow sincerely, surely you will get into that hidden treasure. Here, Shankaracharya signifies and especially emphasizes the need of instruction and guidance from a knower of Brahman. That is, because the knower of Brahman has himself attained that treasure after incessant and concentrated struggle, and so knows every inch of the way to it. He knows what are the difficulties we are facing with and how to overcome them. Corresponding to rocks, earth, etc., covering the buried treasure are Maya and its effects, which hide the effulgent inner treasure of the Atman. The digging operation, which helps in the attainment of the underground treasure, is compared here to reflection and meditation, which lead to the realization of the Atman. Reflection is deep thinking on the instructions of the Guru, which imprints on one's mind the mortal, transitory and illusory nature of the external and internal world. Meditation, on the one hand, makes the mind and intellect discriminative, pure and one-pointed, and on the other, reveals the truth of the Atman's infinite and immortal glory. Then, perfection in meditation brings samadhi, or superconscious experience, in which identity with the Atman is realized. This knowledge of identity attained in samadhi is never eclipsed or affected in any other way by Maya and its various manifestations. Once he has reached that state of samadhi, he is free from all dangers relating to Maya. He is no more caught by the net of the Maya. This then must be said to be the true attainment of the inner treasure. You feel immensely blissful and peaceful. And you feel yourself is a universal self. You feel the individual soul is a universal soul. Shankara warns spiritual treasure seekers against the hollowness of intellectualism and argumentation. People keep on debating on the subjects connecting spirituality, but they end up in just academic discussion. And just as we see how there are so many seminars and conferences going on everywhere in the world about religion, volumes and volumes they talk about, but it remains as an academic exercise. These are no substitute for spiritual practice. So Shankaracharya is stressing upon the sadhana which we should step up. Knowing the thing, then implementing. Implementing part is very important, not simply knowing and keeping quiet. So what is this spiritual practice? It consists of discrimination, reflection and meditation. Resorting to mere intellectualism and argumentation to realize the Atman will be as futile as calling out to a buried treasure. And Shankaracharya says, If a man calling the treasure, "Oh treasure, please come up. You know I am poor and miserable and I am very eager to possess you." Like this he may address the treasure, but fine words do not fetch any treasure. In fact, intellectualism and argumentation make the situation worse by piling up, as it were, more layers of Maya and its effects on the already deeply obscured reality of the self. One of the most formidable of these effects of Maya is ahankar, egoism. If any spiritual aspirant succeeds in conquering it, he conquers Maya and obtains the knowledge of God. All great spiritual masters have stressed this fact. In the Vivekananda again, Shankaracharya also focuses our attention on the theme of ego conquest. It must be done. Unless you conquer your ego, you can't experience the supreme reality. He says that the treasure of bliss of Brahman is coiled round by the mighty and dreadful serpent of egoism. In Vivekananda verse number 302, he refers to this point. So the treasure of bliss of Brahman is coiled round by the mighty and dreadful serpent of egoism. It's a serpent, it is compared to serpent. And this serpent has three hoods. Very interesting to know this. And they are sattva, rajas, tamas. The gunas, the three gunas. Sattva, serenity and poise. Rajas, activity and restlessness. Tamas, inertia and darkness. These are the three hoods of the serpent ego. A man of discrimination, strong discrimination, bold and courageous, can destroy this serpent by cutting off its three heads. How? With the shining sword of realization, and seize and enjoy the treasure of infinite bliss. The same experience Sri Ramakrishna had when he was initiated into Nirukalpa Samadhi state. When he was initiated into Advaita by Totapuri, Sri Ramakrishna had to pass through this experience, and finally he had to go overboard all the dualistic conceptions to step into oneness of reality. So Shankaracharya gives here a very useful hint for the conquest of egoism. It is achieved by purification and transcendence of the three gunas, through which Maya and its activities manifest. So all our resources and energy are being used up in the external things. In that process we are forgetting our true nature, and we are looking in a wrong place for God. Because God stays in our own heart, you have to find out within your heart. Once you find Him in your heart, you will see the same God everywhere. You will have that vision. It's called universal vision. You will have that vision. That is a climax of realization. So hidden treasure is in every one of us. It is covered up by layers of impurities. The spiritual practice means removing all this debris, covering the shining sun of knowledge. Once the debris are removed, the impurities are cleared off, then you enjoy the immense peace and bliss. Page 596. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in his room. Hari, the relative of the Mukherjees, M and other devotees were on the floor. An unknown person saluted the master and took a seat. The master remarked later that his eyes were not good. They were yellow like a cat's. Hari prepared a smoke for Sri Ramakrishna. Master said to Hari, "Let me see the palm of your hand. This mark is a good sign. Relax your hand." He took Hari's hand into his as if to feel its weight. Master said, "He is still childlike. As yet there is no blemish in him." To the devotees he said, "From the hand I can tell whether a person is deceitful or guileless." To Hari he said, "Why you should go to your father-in-law's house? You should talk to your wife and have a little fun with her if you like." To Yam he said, "What do you say?" Yam and others laughed. Yam said, "If a new pot becomes bad, one can no longer keep milk in it." Master said smilingly, "How do you know? How do you know that it is not already bad?" The two Mukherjees, Mahendra and Priyanath, were brothers. They did not work in an office, but had their own flour mill. Priyanath had been an engineer. Sri Ramakrishna talked to Hari about the Mukherjee brothers. Master said, "The elder brother is nice, isn't he? He is artless." Hari said, "Yes, sir." Master said, "Isn't the younger brother very miserly? I understand that since coming here he has improved a great deal. He once said to me, 'I didn't know anything before.'" To Hari he said, "Do they give anything in charity?" Hari said, "Not much as far as I can see. Their elder brother, now dead, was a very good man. He was very charitable." Master said to him and the others, "Whether a person will make spiritual progress or not can be known to a great extent by his physical marks. The hand of a deceitful person is heavy. A snub nose is not a good sign. Shambhu had that kind of nose. Hence he was not quite sincere in spite of all his wisdom. Pigeon breast is not a good sign either. Hard bones and heavy elbow joints are bad signs too. And yellow eyes like a cat's." A man becomes very mean if he has lips that are thick like a dome's, one of the lowest castes among the Hindus. A Brahmin was here for a few months acting as priest of the Vishnu temple. I could not eat the food he touched. One day I suddenly exclaimed, "He is a dome." Afterwards he said to me, "Yes, sir, we live in the dome quarters. I know how to make wicker baskets and such things, just like a dome." There are other bad physical signs. One eye and squint eyes. It is rather better to have one eye but never squint eyes. Squint-eyed people are wicked and deceitful. Not always, exceptions are there. A student of Mahesh Narayan, a student of Mahesh Nyayaratna's came here. He described himself as an atheist. He said to Hriday, I am an atheist. You may take up the position of a believer in God and argue with me. Thereupon I watched him closely and noticed that his eyes were yellow like a cat's. Whether a person is good or bad can also be known from the way he walks. Sri Ramakrishna paced the veranda. M and Baburam walked with him. Master said to Hazra, a man came here. I saw that his eyes were like a cat's. He asked me, do you know astrology? I am in some difficulty. I said, no, I don't. Go to Baranagar. There you will find astrologers. Baburam and M talked about Nilkanta's theatrical performance. Baburam had spent the previous night at the temple garden after his return from Nabin Sen's house. In the morning he had attended Nilkanta's performance with the master. Master said to M and Baburam, what are you talking about? M and Baburam answered, about Nilkanta's performance. While pacing the veranda, Sri Ramakrishna suddenly took M aside and said, the less people know about your thoughts of God, the better for you. Saying these words, the master abruptly went away. A short time afterwards, he began to talk with Hazra. Hazra said, Nilakanta told you he would pay you a visit. It would be good to send for him. Master said, no. He did not sleep at all at last night. It will be difficult if he comes here through the will of God. Sri Ramakrishna asked Baburam to visit Narayan at his house. He looked on Narayan as God himself, and so he longed to see him. The master said to Baburam, you may go to him with one of your English textbooks. We shall stop here. So everyone is having the gold. It is hidden in our heart. We have to get into it and then enjoy the gold. That's the theme which we are talking. So to get into that gold treasure, one has to do spiritual practice, discrimination, and reflection, and meditation. These are to be done and then one has to strive sincerely. So you have to dig and break all the rock-like impurities covering the glory of Atman. Then you will come face to face with the Atman. I have told many times that everyone has two minds. One is spiritual mind, the other worldly mind. Everyone has this two minds. Even the most hated criminal has the spiritual mind too. But then it is in a very potential form. So you have to develop the spiritual mind, then you will come across the hidden treasure. It is this spiritual mind which Sri Ramakrishna refers to when he says in the final analysis, mind becomes Atman. What is that mind? It is a spiritual mind. So hold on to spiritual mind so thoroughly then through the mind you have to go. Once you become strong in your spiritual mind, then the lower mind weakens itself, finally it drops dead. The spiritual mind becomes very active and robust. With that mind you'll be able to reach the exact place where the gold is there. That's all. Any question? Any question? Yeah.
I've heard that you can tell sometimes a person's profession by their walk. You know, like if they're a dancer, they walk a certain way. But I've never heard that when a person walks, you can also tell if they're good or bad. I mean, how would they walk if they're good, or how would they walk if they're bad? I mean, I didn't quite understand that.
Only great spiritual masters like Sri Ramakrishna could tell, not anybody and everybody. Some features are there in a general way they can talk about. It doesn't mean that all people are like that. Exceptions are always there. So, Sri Ramakrishna has touched upon many points, and he could find out who is real, who is not real, who is true, who is sincere, who is insincere, all those things. That's how. Some marks of greatness will be there always. Marks of greatness. Sri Ramakrishna recognized 18 marks of greatness in Swami Vivekananda's personality. When he saw Vivekananda, he immediately recognized him as a divine person who has come to fulfill his mission. Any question? Any comments? No. So as long as you are swayed by the three gunas, you will not be able to get into the gold. Because Sri Ramakrishna refers to all these three gunas as three robbers. Even Sattva-guna is also a robber. So you have to transcend. In order to do that, you have to hold on to spiritual mind. I am always talking about that. I found out the truth. It's the spiritual mind that takes you towards God, takes you towards gold. Strengthen it. The more you strengthen it, the more you are near to God. There is always spiritual mind working in you. Every time, whenever you do something, some idea will flash through the spiritual mind. Sometimes it says, don't do it. But still you go and do it. What can I do? Afterwards you will say. So, you have to, when the spiritual mind flashes signals, you must follow it up. That is called discrimination. When things come up, always two things pose, good and bad. Both things come up. What do you want? Immediate good or immediate bad? You have to choose between them. Sometimes things are good in the long term. So you have to discriminate properly and choose it accordingly. So, you have to work very hard. Digging is not so easy. You must have strength in the shoulder. If you have weak shoulders, how can you dig? So you must be physically strong, mentally strong. Then you'll be able to dig properly. The meaning of mentally strong means you have to take bold steps to overcome all your bad thoughts and bad thinking, bad actions, all these things you have to mercilessly stop. Yeah. Maya. But he who surrenders to God can cross. Even though sattva is considered very good, but even then it binds the man. We may refer sattva as a gold chain. That's also a chain. But it is gold, maybe gold, but it also binds you. So, in order to overcome Trigunatmika Maya, Maya is constituted of these three gunas, these three hoods of the serpent, which I talked about, which Shankaracharya explained in the Vivekananda. So you have to go beyond these three gunas. You have to transcend yourself and position yourself at that level. Then you'll be able to get into the reality. Let us conclude. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its curve to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust are the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.